Early look at what we should be expecting from the markets with Stan Shamu from IG in Melbourne. And let's talk about that turnaround we saw on Wall Street, Stan. We saw some nice gains following a few pretty strong reads on economic data. Then Bernanke spoke and there are a few jitters, and then we seem to come back at the end there. What do you play it all out to?
Yeah, no, it wasn't too big a surprise to get a bit of a bounce off such a low base. Of course, we had seen some continuation of fairly weak sentiment through European trade, with most of the big equity markets over there absolutely savaged following that Italian election stalemate. Now, in US trade, we certainly saw that economic data, particularly with a massive beat on the new home sales front and or the existing home sales front as well, and the conference board's consumer confidence data. They both came in quite strongly, and this really sparked the turnaround in US markets. Now, this was extended as soon as we got Ben Bernanke's testimony coming out. Of course, he's still very comfortable with asset purchases. He strongly defended them, and of course he really feels until we see a sustainable recovery in the labour market, then the benefits of keeping this asset purchase program going far outweigh the costs or the risks to having it. So it certainly does seem like this is a big sort of deviation from the recent commentary, which suggested that most Fed members were now thinking of tying up that QE and adjusting it as economic data continues to show different signs. So yeah, that definitely gave investors a little bit of a spark there, and we saw quite a significant turnaround in US markets. At the same time, of course, this is quite negative for the US dollar. And it really did help some of the risk currencies out there bounce off the lows, particularly with the Aussie dollar. I think it was drawn to around 1.02, bounced off that, now trading at around 1.023. So it's not too much of a bounce, but at least we found some support. The euro dollar was surprisingly resilient given the rise in yields, particularly in Italy, following that Italian election result. We've got the euro still holding that 103 level, but it's got quite a bit of volatility coming up later today, particularly with ECB President Mario Draghi set to hit the wires. Now he'll probably be forced to make some comments regarding the outlook for Italy, particularly with this election result coming out, and we'll really need to hear him come out and reinstill some confidence in a market that's now feeling that the European issues have resurfaced, and that they might be the next source of volatility for the markets over the next few months. So that will be quite key to see how that goes.
And when is that, Stan? When are we expecting to hear from Monty?
Mario Draghi,
oh,
that
Draghi,
is.
okay.
That's just overnight. I think it's early hours tomorrow.
Right. Okay, interesting.
It might be 2 a.m.
Let's take a look at what we're headed for here at home today in terms of the local market. I know we've got a nice lead in from Wall Street. Commodity prices mixed overnight, but with everything going on in Europe at the moment, I'm surprised to see the SPI up by so much. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. We wouldn't get too excited about it. At the moment, we're calling the Aussie market up 0.4% to around 5022. So, of course, coming off that low base from yesterday, that's not too big a leap. But, of course, I think a lot of investors are still quite happy to buy the dips at the moment because we are still in a pretty good uptrend, to be honest. So now that probably will mean we'll see the market trade a touch higher at the open, but of course it wouldn't be surprising to see some selling kick in, particularly with this renewed sort of concern over the Eurozone, and that this might be a source of or the beginning of a near-term correction for markets. So a lot of investors will still be skeptical on that front, but just considering all the leads we've got so far, certainly we feel we might get a slight recovery in the resource space. BHP is pointing up about 0.1% to that 3640 area. We've got most of the precious metals managing to gain ground with gains for platinum, palladium and gold. Of course, gold benefits as an inflation hedge and as a safe haven asset as well when we've got a situation where we've got some concerns being renewed there. So with gold trading up to around 16.15, we probably will see that some of the gold names outperform yet again today. Of course, yesterday they had a pretty good day with the likes of Medusa rising around 5%. So we might see a continuation of this today. Elsewhere, it will probably be all about a few earnings reports with AGL Energy, UGL, and Westfield Group on the wires. There's also a little bit of speculation on the McMahon's front after shareholder approval to sell some of those construction assets to Leighton Holdings. There's also a story brewing just about Fortescue Metals. They're looking to, apparently they've got indicative bids for their infrastructure, and they are looking to conclude that deal by the end of June. So we'll need to see how these bidders come in and whether or not they can spark a rally for the stock in the near term. Yeah, but apart from that, we'll probably still monitor the wires for any analyst changes following recent reports. I think the biggest one I've seen so far is just a downgrade for Flight Centre after their disappointing result yesterday by Credit Suisse. So we'll see how that feeds through to their share price today.
Okay, wonderful. Stan Shamu, thank you for your time. Well, private capital